people rushing to work, talking on their phones, scrolling through social media, lost in their own worlds. Suddenly, in the middle of the sidewalk, a man collapses. He clutches his chest, gasping for air. His face contorts in pain as he struggles to breathe. But something strange happens. People walk past him. Some glance in his direction, others look for a second longer but then keep moving. A few whisper to each other, but no one stops. Minutes pass. The man is still lying there, helpless, and yet not a single person intervenes. Why? Why does this happen? Are people really so indifferent, so uncaring, that they would rather walk past a dying man than stop to help? Or is something else at play? Something psychological, something hidden within the way our minds work in a crowd? This phenomenon is known as the bystander effect, and it reveals something unsettling about human behavior. When we are surrounded by other people, we are actually less likely to step in and help during an emergency. But why? What causes this? And most importantly, how can we break free from it? Because understanding this could mean the difference between life and death, not just for others, but for yourself as well. There's a chilling real-life case that first brought attention to this effect. On the night of March 13th, 1964, a 28-year-old woman named Kitty Genovese was brutally attacked near her apartment in Queens, New York. She screamed for help multiple times. The attack went on for over half an hour. People in the nearby apartments heard her cries. Some even saw parts of the attack, and yet no one intervened in time. It was later reported that at least 38 people had either seen or heard what was happening, but none of them took immediate action. The attacker was able to return and continue assaulting her simply because no one stopped him. Kitty died that night, and the case left the world horrified. What was wrong with those people? Were they heartless, cold, or was something deeper at play? Two social psychologists, Bibb Latané and John Darley, wanted to understand what happened. They conducted a series of experiments to help why people fail to act in emergencies when others are around. Their research uncovered three key psychological mechanisms that create the bystander effect. First, diffusion of responsibility. When you're the only person witnessing an emergency, you know it's up to you to do something. But when you're in a crowd, the responsibility feels shared. Everyone assumes that someone else will act. But since everyone is thinking the same thing, no one does anything. Second, social influence, also known as pluralistic ignorance. When we're in uncertain situations, we tend to look at how others are reacting before making a decision. If no one else seems alarmed or is taking action, we assume that maybe the situation isn't really serious. This creates a dangerous cycle where everyone is waiting for someone else to react first. Third, fear of embarrassment, also known as evaluation apprehension. We worry about making a mistake, looking foolish, or overreacting. What if we rush to help someone and it turns out they were fine? What if we call for an ambulance and it turns out to be unnecessary? This fear of being judged often keeps people from taking action, even when deep down they know they should. But the bystander effect isn't just some abstract psychological theory. It plays out in real life, and the consequences can be devastating. In 2011, a tragic incident in China shocked the world. A 2-year-old girl named Wang Yue was hit by a van in a busy market street. The van drove off, leaving her lying on the road. Over the next several minutes, at least 18 people walked past her injured body. Some glanced at her, but not one of them stopped. Eventually, a second vehicle hit her. It wasn't until a street cleaner pulled her to safety that she received medical attention. But by then, it was too late. She succumbed to her injuries. Or take the case of a man in New York City in 2017. He collapsed on a subway platform. Dozens of people were around, but nobody called for help for nearly 10 minutes. Some simply stared. Others moved further away. Eventually, someone did step in, but that hesitation could have cost him his life. So how do we stop this from happening? How do we break free from the bystander effect and ensure that we act when it matters most? The first step is awareness. Just knowing that the bystander effect exists makes you less likely to fall into its trap. When you understand that your brain is wired to hesitate in a crowd, you can override that instinct and act decisively. The second step is taking personal responsibility. Never assume that someone else will step in. If you see someone in need, act as if it's entirely up to you, because sometimes It is. The third step is overcoming the fear of looking foolish. If you see someone who might be in trouble, it's always better to check and be wrong than to ignore it and be right. A little embarrassment is nothing compared to the cost of inaction. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you need help, don't just call out vaguely for someone to assist you. People are more likely to respond when they are given a direct responsibility. Instead of shouting, help, point to a specific person and say, you in the red jacket, call 911. Giving clear instructions breaks the diffusion of responsibility and compels people to act. There's one more thing to consider. While the bystander effect is well documented, it's not inevitable. There are cases where people do step up, even in a crowd. What makes them different? Studies suggest that people who have had emergency response training, who have been educated about this phenomenon, or who have experienced a similar crisis before, are far more likely to take action. That means the more we educate ourselves and others, the more we can change how people react in life or death situations. The next time you witness an emergency, remember this: don't wait. Don't assume someone else will help. Be the one who steps up. Your decision to act could save a life. If you found this video insightful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more psychology content, and share this video with your friends. It might just change the way they think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.